All right, thank you all so much for joining me today and going to learn a little bit about our new program, the Ready Rating System. Uh, this is a wonderful system designed to help businesses be better able to respond to disasters and to help both their own workforce and the community at large. So let's go into it a little bit. My name is Jacob Leviama. I'm the Disaster Program Specialist for the Central Arizona Territories of the Red Cross. My responsibilities usually end up being a lot of our blue sky roles, how we prepare our community, how our DAT responders, our disaster action teams go out and respond to local disasters, and our recovery team, our caseworkers, how we end up helping the members in the community after they've been impacted by a disaster. Since we're here talking about preparedness, I do want to share a motto that we kind of live by in our preparedness programs, which is prevention is better than a cure. After a disaster, people will lose very sentimental things, and there are certain things that can be lost that can never be replaced. So our duty, what we want to do before disaster ever strikes, is help the community know what they can do themselves to mitigate the impacts of the disaster. As you'll learn through this presentation, it is having a strong emergency plan is vital to making sure that not only yourself as an individual is able to progress after the disaster, but you as a business or organization is able to survive the emergency as well. That's especially important because disasters are on the rise. Every year we seem to be having more and more disasters. Just in the 90s, we had about 4.5 million disasters hit the United States. But since then, there's been an increase, and at this point, almost 40 million people have been impacted by a disaster. That's the last report since 2018. But nearly 21 million US adults were affected by disasters between 2001 and 2010 alone, which is 5 times more than any prior decade. And there shows no signs of stopping as we continue moving throughout the years. Right now, we have many volunteers deployed to the Texas and Louisiana hurricanes, as well as the California wildfires. So we're seeing the need for strong emergency plans rising, not just with individuals, but every single entity that gets touched by a disaster. Just to go over a little bit of the statistics here, emergency preparedness planning for organizations is absolutely critical to mitigate the effects on people, businesses, operations, property, and investments. Unfortunately, a majority of organizations are not prepared to handle the impacts of just your average disaster, with as many as 40% of businesses actually failing following a disaster. According to the U.S. Small Businesses Association, small businesses represent about 90% of all employers. However, they're the ones that are going to be most susceptible whenever a disaster strikes, and only about 62% of them have any sort of emergency plan in place, which is not actually OSHA recommended, but that's the fact of it. And the reality is that a lot of us going into business, we don't really understand how to create an emergency plan and what sort of considerations we need to think about in order to protect our workforce. Houses of worship, nonprofits, none of them are immune to those same considerations as well. Houses of worship being equally vulnerable to disasters, often lacking comprehensive emergency plans. Nonprofits do face certain unique challenges, especially with the population that they most often serve. Nonprofits being a 501c3, they are, they do get funding from the government because they're doing a huge service to the community and something that the government can't put in. But that means that the populations they're serving are usually the underserved, low-income populations, and without when disaster strikes, it can be a lot harder to get your services out to the community and even to get your workforce back into your doors to run your nonprofit at all. So all of these entities, it is critical that we have a strong emergency plan. So that's where the Red Cross came in. We see the need for some tools to help businesses, organizations of all shapes and sizes find out what exactly they should be having. OSHA, Occupational Safety Health Association, did put out some standards as far as if you are an organization that have at least 10 members, you need to have an emergency action plan set for how you're going to respond to disasters. But that can be very difficult to find out how you're actually going to do that if you've never had any sort of prior training. So that is where we come in with the Ready Rating program. It's actually a website that provides you a free membership to join, completely online, so it doesn't matter where you are when you want to join and use these tools. They help with measuring your organization's current preparedness level while also giving you advice on how to improve those plans, tracks your progress as an organization, taking every step to improve yourself along the way. Overall, it just makes getting prepared simple, cost-effective, and achievable. You can even end up helping build your own preparedness team for your organization. As a Ready Rating member, like I said, you'll measure your organization's current preparedness level by doing a few assessments. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then start creating emergency action plans based off of recommendations from those assessments. And you'll be given tools along the way to make sure that your entire workforce knows what to do when the time comes. That includes tips on how to create exercises and drills. I think everyone here has, if not been the host of, at least participated in a fire drill. So that's just a very basic emergency action plan right there that we're ingrained as just school students to learn, and this kind of shows you how to create that for your organization for any type of hazard that's very common in your area. Our members in the rating system, they span all shapes and sizes, whether you're a small, medium, or large business, a school or public or private school, a manufacturing organization, nonprofits, like I said, real estate agents, you name it, we've got a plan in order to help your organization succeed in the face of disasters. We do this by making sure that we have an engaged audience. The tools on Ready Rating are not just about making sure you're aware of what you should be doing, but it makes sure that you're actually playing an active part in your emergency action plans. So our members, the 75% of our members have updated their preparedness plans inside the website. 70% of them educate their employees on the preparedness at work, and they do report increased preparedness scores, some by as much as 40% from the time they join by the time that they finish their first assessment. So we want to make sure that we're empowering every member that joins our program in order to make sure that they're actually succeeding. Because of this, 93% of our Ready Rating members do say that our service has been, somewhere between good to excellent. So whenever you want to join, if you think after this presentation and the virtual tour that I'll give you at the end, if you think this is going to be a good fit for your organization, you'll go to the website listed here, readyrating.org. I'll also put that into the chat box. That way you can copy it, save it for later. There's a Ready Rating membership agreement that someone from your organization has to agree to. This should be someone that is in a leadership position, someone that is appropriate for your organization to represent your organization for these agreements, same like you would do for any sort of agreement between two entities. And then of course, complete one of the Ready Rating self-assessments to measure your current preparedness level. So we do have two different assessments. It's just a yes or no questionnaire that you walk through. In fact, let me go over them right now. If you are a brand new organization, you haven't done any sort of emergency action plannings, or you're not really sure where to start, the Ready Go is a very short 25 question assessment that's going to be perfect for you. It's meant for fast evaluation, and it goes over the bare minimum requirements of OSHA, so that you know for a fact when OSHA comes around and does a tour and an inspection of your organization, you're going to be able to pass. Gives you that peace of mind. If you want to take it, go above and beyond, once you've done the initial assessment, or if you've had emergency action plans in place before, and you're just looking how you can improve that, that's where Ready Advanced can really benefit your organization. It's a much more in-depth 60 question assessment to really get into the nitty-gritty details. We'll take a look at both of those in a moment, but you'll notice both of these assessments are divisible by 5. That's because we have these assessments, broken down into 5 different categories. That's participation, which demonstrates, your organization demonstrates your commitment to preparedness. Emergency planning demonstrates understanding of most likely hazards and potential impacts in your area. Facilities and equipment shows that you're preparing your environment and you have the correct response equipment to be able to respond appropriately. Training and exercises ensures that your staff is properly trained and they have the skills readily available when the time comes. And the final one is extended community. I like to say that no man is an island and no organization is an island either. When a disaster strikes, your business is going to rely on other entities around in order to succeed. So this is where you can play an active role and showing that you're being prepared by being keeping in touch with your partners, and that those ones that you rely on heavily both for your workforce and for others is thriving as well. We need to have a tight-knit community in order to succeed in times of disasters. Completing an assessment generates a score on a scale of 1 to 100. I've even seen it go above 100% if you're going above and beyond, and that measures your organization's current level preparedness. It also generates a customized next steps report, which outlines the recommended steps you can take in order to improve your level of preparedness. In fact, let's go over the next steps report as well. Okay. So like I said, completing assessment generates that next step report, and that just goes over the recommended actions you can take to improve your level. It even helps you complete each action with specific tools from a resource center. And you'll continue improving your assessment scores by periodically completing those recommended steps and updating your assessments on whatever time frame works out best for you. We recommend twice a year, but an annual review is all that's really required in order to keep up with your membership. So I mentioned the resource center, and I do want to go into that. That's actually where the bulk of the aid comes for you. Yes, the assessment allows us to understand what you need, but the resource center is how we actually give it to you. So it is broken down into those 5 categories that the assessment talked about before: the participation, emergency planning, facilities, training, and extended community. That way you can tailor your resources to be whatever you need and whatever is going to be most relevant to your organization. But there's actually over 70 actionable resources that you can take advantage of. Yes, I am moving forward on the slides. Can you see that? You should see Ready Rating Resource Center.
I must be stuck. I'm on slide 9.
Oh, is that true for anyone else?
Must be the Wi-Fi here.
Hasn't changed. She sees. If you've clicked the slideshow, you may have paused it for yourself. Microsoft Teams allows you to slide through the slide deck on your own. Oh, yep. Someone took control.
Oh, shoot. That was me.
Here, let me share this again. All right. Doing some quick troubleshooting. And we're going to slide over. I think I was on slide 12, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Yeah. Now it's there.
Okay. Everyone see that?
Yes. Yes, she also said having changed progress.
Okay. Judy, can you see the Resource Center? Okay, perfect. So like I said, has over 70 actionable resources that can help your organization beyond just the resources that are in those 5 categories. It also goes over other reports, checklists, sample forms, presentation decks, so you can give that out to the rest of your organization. And videos. Those are also incredibly helpful. I've been watching a few myself, and those are expertly given by experts, I should say. All right. Finally, this will be very helpful for those organizations that are brand new to emergency planning. Ready Rating also gives emergency action plan templates. So you can download that into a Word doc and then start customizing it to whatever will fit your organization's need and organizational structure. So you'll be able to select it from 2 of the template options. Again, the EAAP Go, just like the Ready Go assessment, it standardizes topics that address the minimum OSHA requirements, doesn't go any beyond that, really can just make sure that you're dipping your toes into the water. And then the Emergency Action Plan Advanced template, again, for getting really down into the weeds and helps assign roles for who's going to be doing what during a time of disaster, like if you have to go into a shelter-in-place protocol. Like I said, both templates you can export into a Word document and customize. The rating just helps your organization meet and exceed the minimum requirements that are set by OSHA. Does that make sense? I hope I explained that properly. All right. Now, afterwards, after you've done all of that, or as you're continually putting in messages, we try to keep a good communication with you. Once you become a member, you do get a welcome email that just goes over all the expectations, lays it all out so that you know how to operate the website and refresh your knowledge and make sure you're getting the best experience out of the Ready Rating program. You'll also get periodic reminders to update your assessments and an invitation to check out your next steps report whenever you complete or update your assessment. We also send out quarterly member newsletters, which feature articles about relevant preparedness topics for that year, such as right now, of course, we've had a lot of communications about COVID and keeping your workforce engaged during this pandemic, how to make sure that your workforce is sanitized, practicing the CDC, clean, distance, and cover. I know when COVID first came around and struck, I actually did have organizations reach out to me that want to know how they were actually going to be able to shelter in place, but that unfortunately we weren't able to assist them because those are things that you really do need to have those plans prepared well in advance, because it does end up talking about who's going to be assigned to be the feeding lead and make sure that if you're sheltering in place, do you have food to keep your workforce fed, or how are you going to get that and distribute the food amongst your workforce? How are you actually going to provide sheltering needs, cots? Do you have your facilities set up in order to support that function? That sort of thing. And we could give them the insight, but was it really, these plans do have to be set up beforehand. They're not actionable unless you already had it decided. So this is where that starts talking about, hey, this is a good time to start thinking about these considerations. So once you've actually joined and you're getting your assessments done, starting to learn out, these are all the benefits you should be able to see happen to your organization. Of course, it's going to be preparedness made simple. Make sure that you're having those pertinent and incredibly important conversations early enough before disaster strikes. You are always in full control of your process. You'll be able to customize it to fit the timeline for your organizations and what actions you take to improve your organization's level of preparedness. You'll have access to the easy to understand assessment report cards and next steps reports, as well as the plethora of resources in our resource center. You'll see your preparedness level improve steadily as you move through the action steps. You'll even get discounts to the Red Cross store, which does include some emergency supplies, like helping create emergency kits for your organization workplace. Make sure you have like water and such for everybody when the time comes. And you do get a really beautiful Ready Rating member seal that you'll be able to demonstrate to the community, showing that you have taken the steps necessary to commit to preparedness and keeping the community safe, including your own workforce. Like I said before, all of these benefits are free thanks to generous sponsors to the Red Cross in order to bring this all out to you. So, like I said, after I finish these last two slides, we're going to have a virtual tour of the website. I'll show you around a little bit, but afterwards, I would love for you to, have a conversation with your leadership. Think if this is a program that's going to be right for all of you. If so, please join Ready Rating, going to the website that I put into the chat box, readyrating.org. Register takes less than a minute. Measure your preparedness level by completing the assessment. The short Ready Go assessment should take less than 30 minutes to complete, and the full assessment can take about an hour to complete. You'll get the next steps report generated to you. You'll start improving based off of those recommendations and protect your organization's staff, clients, and community through this program. Now, before I conduct the virtual tour of the website, do I have any questions, comments, or concerns about the program itself? Something that you want a little bit more clarification on?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute.
You're good.
So, when this COVID is done, is this something we're going to physically go in to the businesses and do, or is this all virtual?
Good question. It was originally designed to be an in-person presentation, but honestly, I think this is one of the only presentations that probably work better as a virtual presentation, because you can actually share your screen and show them the virtual website. And plus, with the audience that you'll be targeting being businesses and other organizations, especially like places of worship and such like that, it usually is different locations that are pretty spread apart, and it's easier for them to meet in a virtual environment. Even businesses may have multiple different locations, and they may want representatives all to join. So
Okay.
I'm not going to restrict you from doing an in-person presentation, but I'm thinking this is one of the only presentations I've seen that's better as a virtual one.
Okay, great.
Good question. You'll notice, I think I meant for those of you that are watching this through the recording, beforehand, I did tell the participants that I was going to give this as if they were the targeted audience, so they can get a real good feel of how this presentation is supposed to look like. But I hope that didn't catch, I saw a few people join after the recording started, so I hope that didn't catch you off guard. All right. If there are no other questions, I'm going to stop presenting. We're going to do that virtual tour. I was just on this, but it was having some technical difficulties. So let's see if it will actually work. So, this. All right, so here is the website. I'm going to log out and hopefully it won't crash on me. Okay, perfect. It's all working again. All right, so when you go to, let's actually go to readyrating.org, the website here. So this is what the website actually looks like. You see it says the how it works, even the resource center. You don't actually have to be a member in order to access our resource center, but you won't really know which ones to actually use unless you actually become a member and do the assessment, because that's how you know which ones are actually relevant to your organization. But there's nothing stopping just the average Joe from going in here and playing around. So if we want to actually do the presentation, we go to login. As a presenter, you do have your own generic login. It's the same for everyone. RR123biz. Log in like that. Okay. So once they log in, they'll immediately get welcome to the dashboard. And when you first become, because this is a shared account for all of Red Cross, we all use the same login information. We come in looking like we're already an established member. When it's a brand new person, they'll immediately get the prompt like, hey, want to take your assessment? But once they've done that, down here is where it gives us a ranking. So we are a 4-star ready rating member, meaning that we've completed our assessments and we've achieved all the different next action steps, and we've shown our improvement. So we have 101% assessment score, and compared to other people in our same type of business, they also have 100% because we're the only one right now. So this number may change as more members come in, and it takes an average of that same business type. So if we go to complete or update an assessment, bump it up. Here it is. This is what the categories looks like. So this is the EAP Advanced. Wait, no, this is the EAP Go. Sorry, let me change. Oh no, let's just keep it like this. So it has those 5 categories. Questions like the emergency response team's organization is similar to that of the instant command system, and has a little video that kind of explains that. Tells them what an instant command system is. For those of you that aren't aware of what an instant command system is, it's basically the HUD of where the emergency operations happen, and the leadership roles when there's a disaster, who gets placed into that command post, and kind of outlines the job tasks and such. So it helps guide them through what they need to know for these, and answers yes or no for each one. I'm going to just select a random one and say no. Let's say evacuation routes are clearly visible within the facility. Let's say no to that. You'll notice our assessment score went from 101 to just a plain 100. I'm going to take a no for another one. Let's say we don't have a planning committee. Let's say no to that. And now we're down to 98. So whenever you're done, it automatically saves. And we can go to our next steps report based off of this questionnaire. There we go. So here is our next steps report. And breaks it down into how to read the dashboard and everything. The assessment percentages. Okay, and then talks about the ones that I said no on. So we have an emergency response committee, and then says what we should do. Go ahead and download these resources. It even shows why it's important to do it and what they should be doing in that step. Whenever that gets completed, they'll see, oh, our ready rating dropped this time because we're not showing an improvement. So we'll have to go, do the action steps and then go back and say yes when we've been able to achieve those. There we go. All right. Bam. And then it automatically saves. Then, like I said, here's the resource center. So it does have the 5 categories right there, but then you notice that it expands on it as well. Like active shooter has been added to the resource center because that was a common commonly requested aid for the Red Cross to give. So there's some information about that. There's even how to create a drill, and they had a presentation on here called Run, Hide, Fight, which I think is this one. Let's see. I'm not sure. Where is it? Oh, here it is. Run, Hide, Fight. And then all the COVID stuff as well as right at the headline. All right, but that is the Ready Rating program. And then there's also a email address in case they have questions or they need some help with the website, and it's just readyrating at redcross.org. So if you look, it's only been about 30 minutes. Of course, I kind of blasted through that presentation, and I think it's supposed to cover more information than what I gave, but that is the basics of that. So it's a really short presentation, and most of this is more as a advisor role as you talk with the organization that you're presenting to about what sort of steps they have to go through, and most of it is probably going to be a bit of a Q&A segment. If you are the one providing the presentation, there's a lot of resources about commonly asked questions, how to answer those, and more information that you should have like right by your hand to kind of be able to refer to. All right. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Hey, Jacob, this is Daniel.
Hey, Dan.
So this is what I did when I was working. This is one of my primary jobs, was disaster preparedness. and stuff. So I'm interested in getting really involved in this. And I think maybe I could help you do the presentation to give it a little bit more of a business slant, talking business terms.
That would be greatly appreciated, because I'll send you what the exchange has as far as what the training looks like and what the presentation is supposed to look like. The original presentation, I think it only had 5 slides on it.
Oh, excellent.
So I've added a lot to it based off of like a YouTube video tutorial of what I saw.
So is this available on the exchange? Information on this?
Yes.
Okay, I can go look it up. So
Yeah. Here, I'll go ahead and share my screen and I'll show everyone else where you can go. So I like this toolkit. If you don't already have this saved, I do recommend going to the exchange, putting in search and disaster cycle services toolkit, and you'll find this that I'm looking at. Ready Rating has its own toolkit. There it is. All right. As far as goals for this program, it is part of our larger goals for the Community Preparedness Education Program, CPEP. So, for CPEP, let me pull that up really quick. Oops, this one.
Jacob, I'm on my phone for this, so are you going to be sending us a link so I can watch it later and look at what you're doing on the screen? It's way too small for me to be able to know what you're doing.
Yeah, no problem. I am recording this, and I'm going to put the recording on YouTube, which I found is a way that I can guarantee everyone will have access to it.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Had way too many technical issues with recordings in the past, so YouTube has been my friend in all this. So for Ready Rating, we just need to get 5 people to sign up for the program during this fiscal year. So that so because businesses likely they'll only have one person be the true member for it. You know, it may mean having 5 separate presentations, or sometimes an organization will have multiple members sign up and do it separately for each one of their locations. So it could end up being just one presentation and you already have all 5 of your new members. So this one is based off of how many people actually sign up for the program, whereas the rest of the presentations are usually about how many participants you have that actually listen to you. And Sharon asks, are we going to be cold calling businesses to ask them to sign up for this? I am thinking more than likely yes, but I want to use our partners first, people that we organizations that we work commonly with first. So places that we already have shelters with, like the different faith-based organizations would be a good target audience. Maybe members of our COAD would be a great first place to go to, or those hotels that always reach out to us about providing us assistance. This will be a good way of us giving back to them. So we can use this program as a way of saying thank you as well. Ellen asks, are you saying that volunteers from the ARC need to sign up to make up the 5, or is it that the businesses? Participants, the audience members, businesses, faith-based organizations, nonprofits, external people need to sign up for the Ready Rating system, become a member. Good question. As far as when we're actually going to start scheduling and getting this out. Leadership has decided for preparedness this year. I mentioned on our last meeting that we were kind of playing around with how we're going to change the organizational structure and provide a little bit more direct support to the volunteers and helping achieve these different presentations. So that has been confirmed. We are going to move forward with it where different staff members are going to lead the different programs. So I am actually going to be leading our youth preparedness programs, Pillowcase Project, and Prepare with Pedro. I believe Lindsay Matheson is going to be one of the leads for CPEP, Community Preparedness and Education. So I believe she's the one that will be working with you on actually organizing and getting the Ready Rating program out. But Dan, I'm still more than willing to work with you about how we're going to improve the training for this and creating a better presentation script and training for it, because after reviewing what's outlined so far, I wouldn't feel comfortable releasing it out to the volunteers and getting them involved. It's definitely needs a little bit of tightening up on that end before me personally, I would feel comfortable launching it.
Yeah, that's not a problem. We work together, and I can make some tweaks and get it back to you, and you can send it back and forth, and until we get where we're both comfortable with it.
Excellent. All right. If there are no other questions, let's first, are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, I'm going to end the recording, but I'll still keep the meeting open to talk about some other things going around if you guys have any concerns or questions. Go.